pricing Google Ads and how it works. And this is really important to talk about because, well, if you sell it or you're buying it, you want to know what your options are, and people won't tell you, like agencies won't tell you their options. And Phelan and I do one, will we change one day? Maybe. So there are six we're going to go through. But before we talk about pricing models, we need to talk about how it kind of works. Like, so somebody calls you up and they're like, I want to do Google Ads. You're like, okay. Well, so there are things you have to consider, right? Have they set up an account before? Is there something running? Have they never set up an account before? Do they have any measurement tracking set up? Right. So you got to ask all these questions. So oftentimes, if they have an account, you want to get access to the account so you can read what's going on. So you can make like, if you, and I've done it, if you commit to something before you see what's going on, you could land yourself in some hot water. And you know what? It's funny because I still do it to all the time. Like I, want to help somebody out. It's probably one of my biggest problems. And I'll be like, yeah, we can help you. No. And then I go into the account. I'm like, oh, because you might have to undo things. So Google Ads people, besides the looking at the account before you buy something. Now, bigger agencies won't do that. They'll just be like, okay, here's your setup fee. And then here's the recurring fee. So that's the two things. And the setup fee is a big deal because everybody should charge a setup fee, even if you're just going to go look in the account and, fix things because you're going to have to check everything, right? You're going to have to check all the conversions, how they're set up, which means you're logging into whatever platforms they have, which means you have to get access. Once you get access, then you're going and checking, are the conversions set up in Google Analytics? Are they set up in Tag Manager? Are they set up on the Google Ads, dashboard, or not dashboard, but account? And so you got to check everything. So, and there's a lot of front end work. Like it takes me, so besides checking everything and setting up measures, then you have to build the account out or the campaign out, and then you have to do adjustments, right? So we charge a setup fee of about 750 and up, depending on what is happening in the account, what we see. That being said, not charging a setup fee, you got to ask the question of why aren't they charging? Right? Because what are they doing that they don't have to charge? Because there's so much front end effort if they're going to do a good job, right? And as ad specialists, we spend extra time on things, building out things like you saw the campaign build we make. So we have to go find a bunch of keywords, right? Then we have to make ad groups, then we have to make ads, then we have to upload everything, configure everything, and then do certain optimizations so that out of the gate we can do performance things, right? So it's like upwards of 15 to 20 hours to build and get started. And so besides talking about a setup fee, you also need to talk to your clients about expectations, you know. And I mean, there's probably nicer ways to say this, but expectation of you're not going to get any results for the first month. So then you're looking at, I'm paying for setup, that's a month because it takes about a month. And then I'm not going to get any conversions for about a month. Now, you are telling people that so when they do start to get conversions, they're not over expecting or under, you're going to overperform if you say, don't expect anything. So you have to tell the person, hey, you're looking at throwing away 2 months worth of budget, setup budget, and a first month ad spend plus management fee before you're going to start to see results. Or that's what we say. The reality is, though, Google Ads should get better over time because that's optimization, right? Every month you're going in there and you're doing things and fixing things and checking things. And we went through all those things. And so those are the things you kind of have to consider before we even get into packages, right? And I did want to show you an example of a package that, the types of things you'll see online. So this is, and you probably see this online, right? These guys are saying they're Google Ads partner. I don't, but they have three packages. And I mean, it's interesting, right? Keyword reach up to 100 keywords. Like, it's weird how people price it out, right? These guys are pricing it out based on keywords and, what you're getting, right? Ad copy creation, like, so they're saying, there's like three packages, which is interesting. And that seems to be the way that you'll see a lot of online stuff. Now, there are a lot of agencies that don't put pricing on their website or don't make PDFs and upload them to their website for clients, because that's how I found this one. Because we remember how we do those special file commands for finding files like this, right? It's a PDF, somebody else's. So yeah, so that's kind of what you're gonna see. Now, if you're like, in my opinion, and this might even sound weird, if you're a proper agency, I don't think you're gonna have that on your website. Personally, because I don't think it's gonna be related to keywords. I might wanna, so if I get 151 keywords, I have to pay more. Like, you know what I mean? It is hard to figure out how to price selling Google Ads. What you want to do is do your setup fee, right? And, realize that you're going to have a lot of front end time. So you're going to be spending a lot of time in the account setting it up and looking at things. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you before I get right into the pricing stuff is we're going to go into Google Ads. So when I told you that you want to set up the ability to look at an account without getting full access, like I do tell clients, like, hey, I'll sign a non-disclosure, no problem, right? But you want to give me read only access. Now, how do you give read only access if you have a Google Ads account already as a business owner? Well, you log in and you go to the tools and settings, and then you go to access and security. And when you're adding somebody, now, if you haven't set up your security with, what websites are allowed, what domains are allowed, you can add somebody. So if somebody is on Gmail and you don't have Gmail in there as a security, but you set up security, then you might have to make some adjustments. But what you do is you just go into the account and you go plus on the plus icon on the right hand side, and you go read only. So is the radio button. You put the email in here, and then they can't do anything in the account. They can just see. So if you want to get another Google Ads specialist to look at what's going on and you're thinking about changing companies, not ideal, but this is a good way to do it. We set up clients so that they own their accounts, just just because it's easier. And sometimes they'll get other people to look in the accounts. It's a good idea to get other companies to audit your account, because maybe they'll find things, maybe they'll see that the person hasn't been working on the account. If you are willing to pay somebody $200 a month and that's it to do Google Ads, they're not going to do very much for you. Like, what are they going to do? They don't have time, right? You need minimum 4 hours a month to be working on a Google Ads campaign, even small ones, right? So when you're deciding on pricing, you start with a campaign, a little campaign. You might have two ad groups, and then it goes up to three, and then it goes up to four. And then all of a sudden, you take the campaign and you split it in two, and you have two campaigns, right? Because it can get bigger over time. Because Google Ads kind of goes like a wall, wall. As weird as that sounds, right? You're growing and expanding and then narrowing, and you're constantly doing that to find the right spots. And then once in a while, it'll break, and all of a sudden you're not getting leads, and then all of a sudden you have to do some changes in there, so that's normal. So you kind of have to figure out your hours and what you want to spend time on. So now we will go over the six pricing models. Now you know all those other things. So, and of course we're going to talk more about our model. Right? So okay, the hourly, so is the first. So there's six. There's hourly or billable hours, percent of ad spend, management fee plus percent of ad spend, a retainer, which is flat fee, performance-based pricing, and milestone-based pricing. Hourly, the first one, which is I charge hourly. Well, although that can be good, it'll make you, as the AdWords person, work slower, because you want more hours, and it can take a long time, but you're going to maybe leave your clock running while you're getting a coffee, or you're not going to rush. Clients love it, right? Because, and it might be good for smaller businesses, hourly charging, I don't think you'll enjoy it. It spreads your hours too thin, which makes you not do a good job. You're penalized for not working efficiently, right? And so you just want to, I always discourage it. Like, I'm not, if you want to charge hourly rate, that's a freelancer. Package rates are better because you're probably going to spend more time at different times, right? We like to over deliver. So we generally want to spend as much time on the account as possible because there's always something to do. When you log into Google Ads, you'll get busy. Be honestly, because you get hours and hours and hours. So you have to be able to pull yourself out of the account and realize that accounts need to be checked on at least weekly, and they need some optimizations, and then they need bigger optimizations, right? So if you're going to do hourly, make sure you're, saying it's going to take 6 to 10 hours of work a month, right? So that's the first way. And I don't do it, but we spend more hours probably on the account. So we do package style, meaning we do a flat rate. Now, the next one is percent of ad spend, which is the industry norm. It's for bigger businesses. So if I'm spending $10,000 and I, as the agency, take 10% to 20%, I'm making 1 to 2 grand on that account. That's worth it. But then their spend can be more or less. Like, we just met a company and they're doing percent of ad spend. And when it went over a certain spend, all of a sudden they had to pay the agency more. So at the end of every month, all of a sudden it just went over just a little. And so all of a sudden they're getting a bigger bill. It is the industry norm though. I find it challenging because I'm then looking through all the accounts at the end of the month and then billing. And you're constantly doing this back and forth, like, oh, what did they? Okay. And I just think it takes more time. And I've never found a good way to do it. It's good for customers who want transparency and ultimate ownership of their account. Now, we give ownership of the account and we are transparent. So, but we do it at a flat fee rate because we expect clients can go into their account. They can, some clients already have accounts, some don't. So, and oftentimes nowadays we're getting inherited accounts because either people aren't happy or they need people that want to spend more time or pay more attention or incorporate SEO, which is a benefit, right? To doing Google Ads and SEO. So it's for bigger companies. Like, if a tiny, tiny company spends $1,000 a month and I do 20%, you know, of that, that's like $20. I can't live off $20. How many hours am I going to have to spend So it's not the ideal way. And I mean, people do that tiered level, right? I spend 0 to, you know, this much, and this is my percent of ad spend. Now, the other one on top of this is management fee and percent of ad spend. So I charge a management fee, a flat rate, and then I also do percent of ad spend. It's becoming more normal. Again, you're looking at it every month and going in, finding out how much they spent. I just find it too much. It's too much work. I want to spend my time on other things. So, but that is an option. So you will see that we charge a flat fee. And it does benefit us in some ways, and then it also cannot work for us because if accounts get really big or the client's like, I want to spend $10,000 now. That doesn't mean you just increase. If you increase the cost, you also have to increase the work and increase, the number of campaigns and the number of keywords. And so it can be hard over time. Like, the pricing Google Ads and how to manage them is a challenge. We Some companies will charge a flat fee and the cost of the Google Ads will be incorporated. It's the first company I worked for, Reach Local, with Google Ads. We sold ad packages and it was a flat fee. However, we owned the account as Reach Local. Clients didn't get access to the account, they didn't see anything. And so they didn't know the cost of the keyword they were clicking on. So Reach Local could take 50% of the amount they're being given for Google Ads, and they could just spend maybe 25% on the ads. And so there's a lack of transparency there. And I find that, and the client doesn't own the account. right? And it's hard to get transferred ownership, a challenge, right? So I didn't like that fee. I always found when I was going to sell it, clients would ask, well, how much am I paying to Google Ads? How much am I paying to you? The other problem with that is it's on your credit card. And then all of a sudden you're paying for their Google Ads and then they don't pay you. Uh, and then you're hooped. I worked at a newspaper. I said we had a blacklist of companies that hadn't paid us for running ads. And, so I would avoid that. So we do flat fee with 100% transparency, right? Where we show you the cost of the ads. You pay Google directly for your ads and we manage. And what we try to do is make ourselves so worthwhile that we're getting you so many leads or the cost of the leads are at a great rate so that you're making money versus spending money and not making money. And that's actually, you know, where we get to with performance based pricing. Now, performance based pricing is something I am interested in because I want to be able to take on a small client and be like, what if I could do this? Like, let's set some goals. And if I achieve those goals, if you get this many leads and you like, I want more money. So, but that being said, if you don't get things, right? So it's a give and take. I like the idea of performance-based pricing because it gets me to really focus and try really hard, right? Now that being said, it's hard to measure because what if the client comes back to you and says they weren't good leads, So if I get you 10 leads and you don't close any, whose fault is it? Well, it's the client's fault, but it's hard to tell them that. And we've had people cancel on us because they're like, well, maybe we just can't close anything. I was like, yeah, maybe, which if you're getting lots of leads for the right keywords, you're probably getting the right clientele, you know, depending on audience. So performance-based pricing might not, that's why we didn't choose that option, nor have we gone there, and it has been a good 7 years. So we'll probably stick with our flat fee. And then there's milestone-based pricing, which is kind of broader range of metrics, right? So you're not just including just the lead generation. You're maybe including the cost per click or the lower cost per acquisition, right? So there's so many options for Google Ads, so many ways to set up how you're going to bill. But the main thing you need to know is that you need a setup fee or an audit fee at the beginning. So to look into the account to make sure, because you're just going to create way more work for yourself if you don't look at the account. And if you're like me and you just want to help people, like, you can land yourself in some, oh God, literally. And I mean, I'm going to go look at a Google Ads account today of somebody who got set up by an agency. So I'm assuming their account was set up well. I'm not sure why they haven't gone back to them. Not concerned, but they are super small. So I think my budget might be out of their price range, but hopefully I can give them some good tips. Right. So flat fee based pricing is the best one, I think, but that's what I'm doing. So and that is really all I have to say about pricing. So, really easy, fun, short, because I wanted to save y'all some time. Because what is the gift of time? It's a good lunch break, right? So, ta-da, that's it.